Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome. It's a podcast. Now sit down, shut up, and listen to your hosts, Mike and Darin.
Hello, and welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome. I'm Darin.
I'm Mike.
And we are very excited to be here. This is episode
35.
35.
Half of 70.
Half of 70, yeah.
6 times
Go ahead.
5 plus another 5.
1/4 of 140, okay? Yeah, let's just go on and on
this
and on.
This has been math with Darin and Mike.
What is wrong with you?
Many things.
We have guests tonight.
Yeah, that was what that snort was, in case you were wondering.
we
That's a
have
guess.
Good God.
Yeah.
So in case everybody's wondering what the drunk sound of is going on in the background, it's our special guests tonight from Textual Tension, Rachel and Margie. Now, I have been plugging this for weeks. Weeks.
Okay. Go ahead.
Stop.
Sorry.
That's another story, another podcast.
Okay.
I have been plugging this and
You've
plugging
been plugging
it. Hey,
it loads.
we're going to have it on this special date. And what happened? The day we're supposed to do it, we get bumped.
Yeah.
We got bumped on our own podcast.
I would bump us.
Yeah,
I know.
They brought it up themselves, Rachel.
And Margie, she's like,
seems like you guys have got some beef with us.
Hey, Margie, I haven't even introduced you yet. Hang on.
You expect me to listen to a call out and then not say anything in return? Darin, we worked together for a year.
That's right. For a
year.
very special
and
year.
Do you remember sure. And then do you remember at the very beginning of the year, the first time you met me, I was
She's already drunk.
I was just slaying Nishan.
She's already drunk.
I'm drinking
you know what?
seltzer water.
I know the listeners can't see this, but which one's Margie, the top or the bottom?
Margie's on the bottom.
Margie's
Rachel's
camera.
on the top.
I feel like I'm a gerbil in her little aquarium, and she's yelling at me.
Yeah.
She's like looking down at me, and all I want are some wood pellets.
Mike, I'm a little concerned that Mommy and Daddy are fighting right now. Should we be worried?
No.
Are Mommy and Daddy going to get a divorce? Is it my fault?
We got the camera squarely on Mommy, so she can't go
Exactly.
anywhere.
It's totally Mommy's fault.
Yeah.
Anyway, all kidding aside, we're very happy that the ladies from Textual Tension are on our podcast. We were supposed to do it a couple weeks ago, and I understand that something happened, and the schedules got all screwed up, and that's what happened. So we're thrilled to have you with us tonight. So welcome to the Irritable Dad Syndrome podcast.
Thanks for having us on.
We're glad to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, what made you decide to do a podcast on romance novels?
Oh, that was so Margie's fault.
Yeah, it was my fault. I came up with this idea like a few years ago. Excuse me. And
Drunk.
Totally.
I'm the one drinking.
I honestly wish.
And honestly, excuse you, you'll know when I'm drunk.
She's the mic of that podcast.
Yes.
Everyone's
Yes, she is.
yeah. Okay.
It was my idea. I was like, I've always been a bookworm, and to be honest with you, before the podcast started, I really hadn't read very many romance novels because I just couldn't get into them. I was like, this is completely ridiculous. This is just I can't do this. I can't get into it. But I did find them really hilarious. So I was kind of like, hey, Rachel, I have this idea for a podcast. Do you know anyone who would want to be my co-host? And she was like, me.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. And that's really how it came to me. And I think we are both genuinely a little curious as to what happens in that world, because it is just,
insane.
And not to sound mean, but the people who are really big fans are sometimes insane. And it's just an interesting place and an interesting book to read. Although sometimes it does get exhausting. Another one.
Especially for the characters in the books. I mean,
God,
Yeah.
it would hurt so bad.
So much.
Right.
No, I know. I kind of equate a lot of the romance novels to the Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's like, you watch a movie that's so bad that it's good.
Yeah.
That, and so I imagine you run across that a lot.
Oh, so much.
So it's actually, and I don't know how I feel about this, like this personal development in me as a human, it's become very cathartic for me. If I'm ever like having a bad week, I will intentionally find a terrible romance novel so that I have something else to be angry at. So I can read it and just be so mad. And it makes you feel good. You have an outlet.
Okay, so in the world of romance novels, do romance novelists know that they're writing books and they like embrace it? Or are there romance novelists out there who think I'm the next Stephen King
I
or
would say
Chaucer
I've
whoever?
seen and encountered a lot more of the latter than people who, I think that people who are self-aware that they know that they're writing romance novels and are people who, how do I put this? They're not as afraid of the tropes. They're not acting like they're all like high and mighty, like, oh, this is the most amazing thing ever to be put down on paper.
The apex of literature.
The apex of literature. This is a story that these similar tropes and these similar plot points have been made before, and I'm just reusing them in a new format. Yeah.
Now, you've heard our podcast, and I think
No, they haven't.
I'm assuming that they have.
Oh,
I
really?
have. No, Margie's a professional. She listened to your
I did. That's how I knew you guys had beef with us.
Yeah. Yeah, excuse you. I heard something about Oprah and David Letterman. Is that who it was?
Yes.
All I know is, look, all I can say is that Margie, I don't know if you noticed, but Margie and I are not old. So I don't get that reference. So
Oh, come on.
Oh, for crying! We're gonna go here.
What are you, 7?
not old. Again.
Yeah, not old.
Letterman retired 5 years ago. You're
Again,
old enough to know who
we're not-
Letterman is, and
We
Oprah
know
was on
who
TV
Letterman,
yesterday.
and we know who Oprah was, but like we were watching the Late Show when they were both on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Whatever.
let's be honest, I know nothing about pop culture in almost any capacity.
Okay.
So.
Hence the romance novels.
Hence the
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly. Well, she's
Hey,
come to the right podcast
That's right.
tonight.
That's right.
I hadn't read any romance novels before starting the podcast either, actually. Absolutely none.
Yeah. So
Came in blind.
do the two of you dream about killing each other like Mike and I do?
I joke that I think that Rachel wants to kill me, but
Kidnap.
also
Kidnap.
kill.
Okay.
Oh.
So Rachel, you want to kidnap Margie, and then what?
Well, it's more of like, not so much that I want to kidnap her, that I'm expecting her to be kidnapped.
Oh, you're hoping.
Yes.
Hoping that she gets kidnapped.
Yeah, that's probably, honestly.
She's
Gotcha.
expecting at this point she's expecting a man to come and kidnap me, and that's how I'm gonna find the love of my life. So
Scottish
that's what she's
Highlander.
hoping for.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, that's what happens in a lot of our romance novels. And since I'm the single one on the podcast, that's what we're figuring. You know, we've read all these romance novels, so we know how romance works now. You get kidnapped onto a yacht. He forces you to marry him. And then you're stuck there for like 3 weeks having fabulous sex. And then you come back and your friends are all happy for you. It works out great every time.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
And then Julia Roberts stars in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dances
3
with-
weeks.
Dancing.
Dances
Sorry.
You're really trying to make this
I
work. Mike.
No, I don't care if it works. I'm just trying to be annoying.
That's good.
Nice to know that you're intentionally doing this.
Yes,
It's not
yeah,
just
yeah.
your character.
You know, you said a long time ago, we can do whatever we want. It's our podcast. Because I always
that's
ask you, can I say
That
this?
is
And
true.
you're like,
That is
will
true.
you stop that?
Yeah.
We're in your basement on your microphone, talking into your computer on your stupid podcast. You can
Right.
say whatever you want.
It's true.
And I want to say,
That's true.
hence,
Oh,
I
Rachel,
did.
they're so in love.
Oh,
It's an enemies to
man.
lovers romance. That's what these
is.
two are.
I fell asleep.
I-
Is she talking about us?
I think she is.
Yes,
Okay.
I am.
Okay.
I hate that I know these tropes.
So tell me, who are some of the most well-known authors that you've discussed, and do they know you're talking about their books? Are you getting recognition for this? Is this becoming like a thing?
Are you pen pals with Fabio?
Oh, I wish.
Wait,
and we
hold
have.
on.
Oh no, we have Margie's going on an adventure. So we have actually read Fabio books. They are horrific. I think probably the biggest name in romance novels that we've actually done is Nora Roberts. And Nora Roberts, yep, there's the Fabio
Whoa.
novel.
I'm
For all
looking
time?
Am I looking at a signature of Fabio?
No, it's definitely printed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hush.
Wow.
It's totally a signature. And then look.
And that's the other side.
Nice. Okay, so people in This is an audio podcast.
It is.
Margie's
Yes.
holding up.
An audio medium. I'm really good at podcasting.
Margie's holding up a picture of Fabio.
Yes. And then on the
that's
back
autographed.
of the picture, it says for all time, Fabio.
And
I've always thought that Fabio looks like Alan Thicke if things had gone wildly different.
you think so?
I've always felt that way.
Wildly.
Wildly different.
Yeah.
Like
different.
Twins with Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly. I remember
DeVito.
Twins with him
You
and
remember?
DeVito. Yeah. The girls don't remember
like
Twins
Fabio
No.
because that
Thicke.
was over 4
Yeah.
years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that the most popular romance novel author that we've probably covered was Nora Roberts.
Okay.
And she
Yes.
is like, and this actually kind of ties back to what Margie was saying with like people that take themselves too seriously.
Mhm.
There's also this sort of thing in the romance novel genre with people like Nora Roberts where it's like, oh, I can just pump these out
Yes.
and people will buy them.
Yes.
So you get this stamp on the front of a cover that says never before seen in print, which means it's one of my previous stories, but I've changed the names and there's a dog now.
Right.
Oh.
And
Right.
and they can people will buy it. So you can actually walk into like a Half Price Books or I mean I guess any bookstore and there is almost an entire row of Nora Roberts novels.
Mhm.
She's put out so many.
She
Okay.
has
So many.
She does. She has a system in her writing, and it
Yes.
works every time.
It's a formula, and it
Somebody's
works.
Always gonna. The girl is always almost gonna get killed in the end. Like there may or may, and the only difference is that there may or may not be magic involved.
So
Yes.
do you guys go to like a bookstore and buy these smutty things, or do you
No.
like download them and like or have them ordered like delivered to your house?
It depends. I
Yes.
am staunchly against, this is going to sound terrible, unless I really love a book, I'm not going to support the author. Because,
Here
and
we go.
I don't know how
Some dirty pirating going on.
Yeah.
This is the good
No.
stuff.
Yeah.
library and Half Price Books and Goodwill, actually.
Okay.
Prima places. But, and I don't know, you can cut this if you don't want it to get to be a little bit of a bummer. The biggest problem that I have with a lot of these books, and the biggest reason I won't support these authors, is because a lot of these relationships are just straight up abusive. They are not healthy relationships. They're really bad.
Right.
And
Well, are you telling me that yacht violence isn't the recipe for romance?
oh no, that's fine. It's what
Okay.
happens before the yacht violence that's the problem.
Oh, okay.
But that's kind of like for me, and the reason I jumped on board wholeheartedly with Margie is because like that's a big thing for me. Is if I was young and impressionable and reading a book about, oh my god, but he loves me after 3 days. It's fine that he's been like gaslighting me the whole time. Like that's not okay. And
Right.
so
No,
I won't.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
You know,
And,
a lot of the relationships in these things are so unfreaking real. Like the one we discussed
Yeah.
when we were on your show. Thanks for giving us that Jim Dandy of a book.
It was
Okay.
mild.
Okay, so I have a deep cut analysis question.
Okay.
Are you ready for this one?
I am.
Oh.
I don't know if I am.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, why did
so-
you ask me?
Because you guys read a ton of these things. All right. So you have to start to notice themes
Oh yeah.
and like some author's voice. So I've noticed that most of the time, let's take Stephen King. A lot of his books are about an author that does these things, or someone that has some of his characteristics going through things. Was it John Grisham was a lawyer? All of his books are about a lawyer going through stuff.
Right.
Do you start to sense a theme with the authors of the romance novels, like what kind of person they are?
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
how much sick sex can they actually really want? You know,
Right. That's. And you see, the interesting thing for me is that you see different sides of people too, because there's an author, Karen Monning, who she writes these like Highlander romance novels where like a time traveling Highlander will come and kidnap a chick into like the future and, or from the past into the past. And it's really weird, but they're pretty mild. They're not like abusive. They're not creepy. And then she has this whole other book series about this guy who is just downright scary. Like the things
Right.
that he does to this girl in this book, you're like,
It's
this
horrifying.
is supposed to be a romance novel? Like, he does things where, like, he wipes her memory after having sex with her because she starts questioning why they had sex, and it's like, oh, this is not okay.
Like in Men in Black.
Yeah,
Yes,
like in Men in
essentially.
Black. Yes.
Wait, now have you seen Men in Black?
I got
was
that
over
one.
Okay,
I
okay.
got that
one.
reference.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I don't want to go over your heads here.
That's with the guy from Wild Wild West, right?
Yeah, he's going to continue. He's going to keep doing this.
Of all the Will Smith movies, is he the one from Wild Wild West?
Darin's going to do this all through the episode.
For what
Every
it's
time
worth,
you
I did
mention
it on
something, he's
purpose.
going to be
Is
like,
that the
"Oh,
one
are
with
you
the
you
Fresh
remember
Prince
that,
of
right?"
Beverly Hills?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
She picked like one of the worst movies of all time.
Excuse you, Wild Wild West is a national treasure, and I love that movie.
Yeah.
And it has Kenneth Branagh in it.
Aww.
It does.
Okay,
You're not allowed to fight with anyone about movies this episode.
No,
Just
I'm not.
stand down.
I'm not.
Oh.
No,
Me?
Darin's not. No, Darin's
Oh,
not.
no,
You
I'm
guys,
not.
I forgot you guys can't see me.
You're supporting
He
Wild Wild West.
He's not allowed to talk to anybody about.
You're
fighting
gonna
with
be
him.
on the
He's using
side of
his
Wild
finger to
Wild
point
West.
at Darin.
We play a game at at work that is called Has Rachel Seen That? And the answer is almost always no. So the fact that I know Wild Wild West and Men in Black is amazing.
Okay. Well, I love the
saying.
theme song from Wild Wild West.
It's a great song.
It was a great.
Is that the
song.
one that goes Wild Wild West?
That's
Yeah, that's how it
yeah.
goes.
As a roll into the Wild Wild West,
I didn't-
and then they sampled Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. Oh, look, a gift
Yeah,
from Zoom.
yeah, they sampled a Stevie Wonder classic. So,
Uh-oh.
Just collect yourself.
I actually, before we go in on that little tangent, I
Okay.
wanted to follow up a little bit on what Margie was saying.
okay,
I think you also get so there's actually a lot of facets to romance authors that are really interesting when it comes to how problematic a relationship is or how bad a book is, because you can get like the writing in a book can be atrocious, and then you get to the sex scenes and it's like, oh well, this is actually like fine, it's written well, and you kind of can tell like, okay, they started in fan fiction because that's just what they have more experience writing with. Or you get people who like will write from the dude's perspective, or write from the female's perspective, or write from like third person, and it just, there's so many different like styles that they can choose from that I feel like gives insight into the person's experience. That said, fan fiction authors can make great romance novel authors. We actually just interviewed one who started in fan fiction, and her book was fantastic. So it's really interesting to kind of see how some people start in fan fiction and are great. Some people start in fan fiction and are terrible, as you will hear in our 69th episode that's coming out soon.
okay.
So some write from the male perspective, some write from the female perspective. Does anyone write from the pet in the corner of the room wondering what the hell's going on? Perspective?
Yes.
What are they doing, and when
Yes.
am I going to get my treat?
Yes.
I'm a good boy. I'm a good boy.
This
They look
is-
like they're playing a game with each other,
Uh-huh.
and it looks like the dad is winning.
There's got to be some sort of Stanley Kubrick.
I stole that joke from
romance
Modern Family. I
novelist.
stole the joke from Modern Family.
So this is a deep cut, but Margie and I have talked about how we desperately want a romance novel that is about this like rich CEO guy and this woman, and it's a really problematic relationship, but it's written from the perspective of like his secretary who's having a very nice, wholesome, wonderful relationship and watching this thing play out and being like, what the hell?
She's constantly having to go buy lingerie for this mistress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that would be hilarious.
Exactly.
To go back to the animal bit, we did have one. It was a Halloween themed episode, and it was a book with 4 different stories in it. But they were all centered around these cats who were like trying to create romances for their owners.
Right.
It's always a cat.
Well,
And that book was very strange.
so that you two would feel in your element, I don't have any romance novels at the house, and I wasn't going to download anything, and I certainly wasn't going to buy anything.
Good call.
But the closest I
With
have...
your gazebo level pay grade, you weren't going to buy anything.
That's right.
Cheap
That's
shot.
exactly right. I've got this book called Squirrel Seeks Chipmunk that was written by David Sedaris. Okay. And it's a collection of stories about animals. And there's a chapter here that I'm going to read. And it's about a squirrel that was dating a chipmunk, and they fell in love with each other.
Okay.
And I'm going to read some of this.
Forbidden
Episode went off the
romance.
rails at
Forbidden
29
romance.
minutes. Yeah.
Exactly.
love it.
So
Okay.
I'm going to read this, and we can go through it together. Okay.
Mike,
So you
how
can
long
feel
did
it.
you expect it to take?
No, I wanted it
Okay.
off the rails
Yeah.
before we even started. This
We
went even
were
further
close.
Exactly. All right, so hang with me here. So the squirrel and the chipmunk had been dating for 2 weeks when they ran out of things to talk about. Acorns, parasites, the inevitable approach of autumn. These
Labia.
subjects had been covered within their first hour, and so breathlessly their faces had flushed. Twice they had held long conversations about dogs, each declaring an across-the-board hatred of them and speculating on what life would be like were someone to put a bowl of food in front of them 2 times a day. They're spoiled rotten is what it comes down to, the chipmunk had said, and the squirrel had placed his paw over hers, saying, "That's it, exactly. Finally someone who really gets it." So the squirrel and chipmunk are finding a connection with each other. And I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Go ahead.
I just want to say that as you're reading this, you're a fabulous orator. Sounds
Thank
great.
you.
I
Thank
did
you.
think you were going to end the sentence about inevitable approach of autumn as inevitable approach of death, and was like, "Oh, this is going places I didn't expect."
No. Oh no, it'll go a place you didn't expect.
Oh, good.
So we fast forward a little bit.
I like that you use your finger to read. Like
I also lick my finger to turn the pages.
I like that.
Yeah, because
that's
it's my book. I can
Yeah,
lick.
you
I can lick
can.
my book if I want
You
to.
can.
Thank you.
You can.
Are
You don't
you
even
into that
sound
kind
out
of
the
thing,
words
Darin?
before you. He is.
You worked with me for a year. You tell me.
Okay.
All right. So they were out one night at a little bar run by a couple of owls. When following a long
Never
silence,
drink from an owl.
the squirrel slapped his palm against the tabletop and he said, "You know what I like? I like jazz." So the chipmunk says, "I didn't know that." The chipmunk said, "My goodness, jazz." Well, she had no idea what jazz was. But
Oh, so the
worried
chipmunk is the she.
She, yeah.
Okay.
Say. So she worried that asking would make her sound stupid. What kind exactly, she asked, hoping that his answer might narrow things down a bit. And he said, "Well, all kinds, really, especially the earlier stuff." Anyway, it goes on and on and on.
Squirrels.
So the chipmunk, she
Yeah.
doesn't want to sound stupid or whatever. The chipmunk goes home. And
Wait, what? The squirrel's just hanging out at the bar still, just listening to jazz.
Yeah.
So this chipmunk goes
Yeah.
home alone.
yeah, I'm trying to fast forward through.
Did he
Very
at least make
romantic.
sure that she got home safe? But
Yeah, the chipmunk got home safe because she's
Oh,
home.
good. I was
Okay.
worried.
Yeah, but
The chipmunk got home
the squirrel
safe. We're all
didn't give a
good.
shit. The squirrel's over there doing lines off a skunk's back at 2 a.m. while the chipmunk's home
Lines
crying.
off a skunk's
Yeah, the
back.
How does he
Why
even
you
know where the
bringing this
line
skunk in?
is? I don't even. Don't,
Exactly.
Don't understand.
Exactly. How do you know it's not the cat that had went underneath the windowsill and got striped paint on her back?
How do you know
That's
it's not the cat?
That's a
They
Pepe
got-
Le Pew reference, which you girls won't
Yes,
get
I
because
do
it's
get
older than
that
4
I get
years ago.
Pepe Le Pew, but I'm wondering how you know that the cat doesn't have his own cocaine problem and maybe has put his own lines on his own back.
I was thinking lines of heroin, but
There's
if you
no
want to go cocaine,
There's
that's
no
fine.
cat.
Well,
There's
what?
no
you
cat.
snort-
There's no
do you-
heroin. There's no cocaine in this
You snort
story.
heroin?
You can.
You all
You can
right.
snort
Shows what I know.
anything.
You can technically
You can
snort
snort
anything.
ground up eraser off the back of your pencil if you want,
That's extremely
is that what
fair.
you were doing
Wow.
at work all those times, Darin?
and I still got paid.
Yeah.
Okay? I still got paid.
It's Pete.
So-
It's Pete. Of course you did.
Exactly. On returning home that evening, the chipmunk woke her older sister with whom she shared a room.
Oh my God, this is getting more
She
complicated.
said, "Listen, I need you to explain
Wait,
something.
who are they
What's
sharing a room
jazz?"
with?
Her sister. I thought I'd be getting problems from
Who
them.
is Jazz? When are we gonna?
Oh my
find
God,
out
it's
who
a love
Jazz
triangle.
is?
Margie. Jazz is that of a bluebird down the street. Oh my God.
Okay,
Everybody-
I won't interrupt your story anymore. I want to know what happens to the chipmunk and her sister.
The sister asks, "Why are you asking me?"
No,
And the chipmunk said, "So you don't know what jazz is either." And the sister says, "I didn't say I didn't know. I asked why you're asking. Does this have anything to do with that squirrel?"
oh, that's
That squirrel.
So there's
Okay.
some
That's,
history
it
there.
Here we
sounds
go.
like that squirrel has
Yeah.
a bad rep.
There's there's some problems here because there's
Oh.
a lot of the romance novels you read has some interracial dating.
Okay.
I was
Sometimes
gonna
there's
say-
lesbian dating or gay romances.
Okay.
This is interspecial.
Okay.
So you
say
can
is it-
imagine how the chipmunk's family feels about her dating.
there's a
We have
question
actually
from-
had interspecies relationships too.
I'm sure you have.
Okay.
I would give you $10 right now if you could correctly guess what the two species were.
Oh, a unicorn and a minotaur.
No.
Martian, and a
No, that's intergalactic.
Irish person.
No, think
Irish people aren't different species for the 100th time. They're humans.
think animals.
Okay.
Oh, two different animals.
What were
A
they?
horse and a pig.
Oh, badger and bear.
A badger and a bear.
Yeah.
Who was on top?
The bear, and it was
Oh, no.
called it was called Hot and Badgered.
Hot and bad.
Oh,
No, you're lying to me.
I feel like
I will
I've
send
been
you
taken
the
advantage
cover
of.
for this.
Google it
fucking
right
book.
now. You will find Hot and Badgered.
Oh,
Actually,
you finish the story. I'll send
Yes.
it.
Okay. So, what's the Leonardo DiCaprio movie where he's in the woods?
Romeo and Juliet. Wait, wrong one.
No. There were no woods.
Revenant.
The Revenant.
Revenant.
Okay. So
The bear doesn't him.
listen. No, hold on a second.
Okay.
So all these reviews come out,
Oh yeah,
and
he got
over
really,
and over and over again, they said he got attacked and raped by a bear.
They did.
Yes, in
Really?
review after review after review, Leonardo DiCaprio gets attacked and raped by a bear, and my mom says, "Well, how does the bear get his pants off?" And I hope Mom's not listening to this.
I'm gonna have to watch that movie again.
Yeah.
I missed that part.
Yeah, it's yeah. So,
Okay.
all
There
right.
you go.
So
I
there's
sent you the picture. It's in the chat.
okay, great. So there's some
no.
problems.
I'm
The
gonna
the
quit.
Chipmunks family doesn't like her dating the squirrel, and the sister says, "Well, I'm telling first thing tomorrow morning because this has gone on long enough." She punched her pillow of moss and she repositioned it.
You
And she says,
whore.
"I warned you weeks ago that this wouldn't work out, and now you've got the whole house in an uproar." Waltzing home in the middle of the night, waking me up with your dirty little secrets.
Listen to
Jazz,
that
indeed.
yeah. What a
Jazz
Just you
and
wait until-
smoking devil's lettuce.
Just you wait until mother hears about this.
Oh, they live with mom too, or are they calling?
Well, yeah, they live with their mother. Chipmunks tend to all live in one big happy family.
Not happy, obviously.
So the chipmunk,
Chip and Dale did.
she laid awake that night, imagining the unpleasantness that was bound to take place the following morning. So our chipmunk is very concerned, and she's laying awake at night, wondering what if jazz is squirrel slang for something. What if jazz
This keeps
is
going.
squirrel slang for something terrible like anal intercourse?
No.
And now she's saying,
That's
"Oh, I
not
like it
what
too," she'd say, and so eagerly. Then again, it could just be mildly terrible, something along the lines of communism or fortune telling.
Are you making this up? Or
I'm not
is it-
making
okay,
this up,
okay,
Mike.
all right.
And I'm trying so desperately to read this.
How does she know about communism and not
And
know
anal
about
sex
jazz?
and
I don't
not
know.
know about jazz.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What is
But
the
just as
what
she-
is the religiousness
The hell's
in their household?
The hell's in her CD player?
Don't know.
What's on her Zune?
Just as she thought she had calmed herself down, a new possibility would enter her mind, each one more horrible than the last. Jazz was the maggot-infested flesh of a dead body, the crust on an infected eye, another word for ritual suicide, and she claimed to like it. So she talks to her mom. Her mom's not happy with her being all involved with this jazz nonsense.
I'm not happy with her being.
Anyway, it helps her, with all the problems with her parents and her sister not liking this, she ends up breaking up with the squirrel because of all the stuff that was implicated with it. So years later, this is many, many, many years later, she had asked her son, I guess she'd had a son later on.
Okay.
She'd asked what jazz was, and he says, "Well, it's a kind of music." And she says, "Is it bad?" And he says, "Well, if it's played badly, otherwise it's really quite pleasant." And then she said, "Did squirrels invent it?" He goes, "Oh, God, no. Whoever gave you that idea?" The chipmunk stroked her brown and white muzzle. "Nobody," she said. "I guess I was just guessing." And when her muzzle grew more white than brown, the chipmunk forgot that she and the squirrel had had nothing to talk about. She forgot the definition of jazz as well, and came to think of it as every beautiful thing she had ever failed to appreciate. The taste of warm rain, the smell of a baby, the din of a swollen river,
smell of a
rushing past her
baby.
tree, and onward to infinity.
And then she died.
Squirrel Seeks Chipmunk. I
All
highly
right.
recommend this
so,
book.
quick question though. You are
Yeah.
both fathers,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume, based on the
Yes.
name of your podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought parents liked the smell of baby, like baby powder.
I do.
and
I just
stuff.
wonder what a chipmunk is doing crawling around babies' heads and
You
smelling
can't
them.
make sense out of any of the.
No.
It's like
That's
Margie
fair.
said. How does a chipmunk know communism? Yeah. Her mom was afraid jazz was the type of chiropractic therapy and was disgusted
What
with that.
is this? Is this like a suburb of Zootopia or something? Like
I think so. Well, yeah, this was written. Well, it was released before Zootopia. So,
Oh.
but anyway, the whole story, the whole book is just stories about animals. There's one that's a unicorn that's got his horn ground off because he was in line in front of another animal that didn't like him. It's
Well,
great.
that's
Yeah.
what you're going to have.
This portion of Irritable Dad Syndrome is brought to you by Diff Liquid Concentrated Wallpaper Stripper. With its unique enzyme action, Diff dissolves old paste and cuts wallpaper removal time in half. Let me put this into layman's terms. If it normally takes you 2 hours to remove wallpaper with an inferior product, it would take you 1 hour to do it with Diff. You following me here? Oh, and did I mention that no steamer is required? I'm not screwing around here. No steamer is needed when removing wallpaper with Diff. Diff is the only one that really works. Look for Diff wherever quality wallpaper stripper is sold. And remember, choosy mothers choose Diff.
Mike's got some big news. He went to the movies.
Holy shit.
Mike went to see...
Yeah, I went to the movies for the first time since guess when the last time I went to the movies?
2019.
2019.
Yeah.
I saw Rise of Skywalker. And that was the last time I've been to the movies until Godzilla versus Kong, or is it Kong versus Godzilla?
I think it's Godzilla versus Kong.
We didn't give a shit what we were seeing. It was just it needed to be loud, and we needed to have popcorn. We were in the Dolby Theater because we do it upright.
Right.
We were one of our group, me, Charlie, and Andrew were, there was like 8 entire people in the theater.
Mhm.
We were 3 of them.
Yeah.
In the movie, my favorite comment was from Andrew. It's like, all they're doing is just fighting over and over.
That's
And
the
it's
point.
true. They keep fighting. But there's one point, and I put this on Facebook. There's one part. Godzilla looks ridiculous. They both, like Kong scratches his ass in the first 30 seconds of the movie. That's kind of
Nice.
funny.
Nice.
But Godzilla just looks like he's let himself go.
Aw.
And he doesn't have much space
Hey,
in his mouth.
we're not
Like,
about fat shaming here, okay?
I'm not fat shaming him. I'm just saying when he opens, it's
he could
apparent-
use a conditioner and some cream rinse.
Yeah, when he
could
opens his-
moisturize
when
the
he
skin a
opens
Stop
his
little
using
bit.
mouth.
that 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner.
Yeah.
if his mouth at the inside looked as big as it should, it would look normal, but it doesn't look normal. It looks like he has a tiny mouth when he opens. It's weird looking. Anyway, there's a moment where and spoiler alert, there's a part where Godzilla knocks Kong down, and you think Kong's going to die, and
Not
all
gonna
your
see it anymore.
common sense goes out the window. All the
all your common sense went out the window when you bought 3
well,
tickets.
there's a brief moment where you're watching this and you're like, oh my god, do they have balls? Are they actually just going to flat out kill either Godzilla or Kong and end that?
Right.
And then you realize,
Oh,
no,
please don't
they're
spoil
just
it
gonna
for me.
they're just gonna keep getting up. Anyway, there's a point where Godzilla is staring down at Kong, and it's on Godzilla's stupid face, and it's way too long, and I just started laughing because I thought they were going to make him speak. I thought they were going to have him talk, and like I said on the post, I thought he was going to sound like Barney. It would have not surprised me, and in my mind that happened, and I bust out laughing. Charlie
Barney is a
looked at
purple
me.
dinosaur for Margie, Rachel. You don't.
Oh, I
it's
grew
a-
up on
I
Barney.
grew up
That
on
is one
Barney,
that I did.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay. It's over 4 years old. Okay.
But yeah, so they fight a lot. There's for some reason there's a bad guy in it that's not Godzilla or Kong, like anyone gives a shit.
Right.
And then there's I called this before. They were going to fight. They fight 2 or 3 times. Then an even bigger, badder, meaner thing comes out. They have to fight that. Somehow they end up in the middle of the earth. There's a rock that Kong touches with his finger for some stupid reason. He scratches his ass again. And then somebody kissed. I fell asleep during part of it. So did Charlie.
Dude,
Andrew
and
had
it
to-
wasn't Kong and Godzilla who kissed. They did it like
Oh,
enemies
please
to lovers.
tell me it
There
was
was like,
them.
there's like the, all these, they always have like this little love story. There was like,
stupid
there was like
gratuitous
a
love stories.
Yes.
Fabio moment, like Kong and Godzilla are banging each other's faces on skyscrapers. It goes
like
to,
Rampage, the video game.
yeah, it goes to like the male and female, and they kiss for, I don't know why they did that.
Oh, you don't
just
mean
did.
they were banging on the skyscraper, because you said banging, and I did not assume fighting.
No,
No, banging their heads.
well, that's in the director's cut.
Oh, right,
Is,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, so you
Yeah.
mentioned that you thought it was Godzilla was going to say something, right?
Yeah, I thought he was going to speak.
Who
I
do
swear-
you
it was
think would have voiced Godzilla?
Barney?
Oh,
Oh, I would have had.
I would have been. I
love
thought it would have been
you.
great if it were Tom Hanks. I think
Okay,
he could have
yeah.
done a good job.
oh yeah.
Hey,
I
come
have.
on, guys.
Yeah.
Why we?
But-
Hey,
You know, like it was.
you're
on,
killing me.
It was
killing me.
It was on him for too long. I almost want to buy this on the disc to see if there's a director's commentary. I want to hear the commentary on that because I'm not kidding. It was a close up of Godzilla's breathing, fat lizard face for at least 30 seconds. And you're like, holy shit. they're going to make him say something.
So why
he's going to say
did they start
something.
fighting? Like, what was their lovers'
Margie.
quarrel?
Okay, apparently there's another
reasons.
movie before this that we missed, Godzilla King of Monsters.
Kong
Oh,
was
that
talking
was a really good
about
movie,
Godzilla.
actually.
Kong was talking about Godzilla. No, apparently whenever there's these two titans, which is what they're called, one's going to fight the other if they know about one. And they were keeping Kong in this like Jurassic Park dome.
Uh-huh.
And then
That's
Kong
never
got
gonna
out.
work for you.
Yeah, Kong got out because of the evil guy. And you know he's evil because he's got like black hair with
Oh.
a shot of gray.
Was
through
he
it, so you know
British?
he's the bad
Was he
guy.
British though?
No, he
Oh.
was like
He's not
he
really
was
that
like
evil then.
Colin Farrell. He looked like Colin Farrell,
So
sounded
he's
like Colin
Irish.
Farrell, but they couldn't afford Colin Farrell, so they got this guy.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. mhm.
And then
Truly
Kong
evil.
gets out, and of course Godzilla comes, beats Kong's ass hard, almost kills him.
And Kong
They
has a
do
Rocky
something.
moment?
They shoot, yeah, and then he beats it. Kong gets his ass beat like 2 or 3 times, and he keeps getting saved. They do a.
And then there's
what-
like Mickey in the corner. You gotta
Yeah,
get
yeah.
in there.
What are those
you
things
can't,
called?
You can't let him
He just
win.
hits
What are
the
those-
beat
Get in there.
for a while.
Punch him in the damn nose.
They have like these vehicles that are anti-gravity vehicles, and they make a defibrillator out of one to bring Kong back after.
Anti-gravity vehicles.
Yeah, because they're going to the center of the earth, and gravity inverts. The evil
Of
guy
course it
explains
does.
it right before the two
Sure.
kiss while Kong
So they go back.
and
They
Godzilla
go
are
to the
banging.
center of the earth.
They go to the center of Earth. That's where Kong lives now. And then apparently there's a
It is cheaper there.
There's a post scene
Real estate.
like Marvel did
Through the
where
roof on
Godzilla
Earth.
comes down. They have
Inside
a house
the
party
Earth.
because spoiler alert.
Totally cheap.
Will you shut the
Hey, I'm going to do to you what you did to me when I tried to read this book.
Apparently, Kong and Godzilla.
Tom Hanks voices Godzilla,
Apparently,
and it's
Who voices
Pixar.
Kong?
Also Tom Hanks.
So
No,
weird.
Tom
John-
Hanks voices both
Unprecedented.
characters.
John Goodman.
All
does
hell
Kong.
breaks loose.
They become buddies. It's the end of the thing after the
They're
credits.
doing a
scene.
commercial
They
now
come
for
down.
Toyota.
Okay.
Do they,
Yeah.
do they crack open a cold one with the boys?
I'm sorry that I interrupted your squirrel banging
Yeah,
the
yeah.
chipmunk
Yeah.
to a jazz album with communist dancing in the background story.
Yeah, I know you are.
But Kong and Godzilla are important.
Uh-huh.
And there's a pterodactyl.
Okay.
3 of them.
Can,
Go ahead.
can I ask a mildly related question? Unless you were going to
Sure.
finish the synopsis, because it was a good synopsis.
I was, but
Oh,
I'm
you
hoping
can
that this-
finish it first if you want.
yeah. No, it's pretty much done.
I-
I mean,
Yeah.
they just fight and then they're buddies at the end, and I guess some big bad like Mothra thing or something's
Yeah.
gonna come in the next movie.
Well, so
Okay.
first, Godzilla King of Monsters is legitimately a very good movie. In like a fun, stupid way. But the
Was that
second
the
one
one
is
was Bryan Cranston in that one?
No, that's
Maybe.
Godzilla.
I don't know.
Okay.
I just
Yeah.
remember I watched it on a plane back from Japan, which is hysterical to me. But
Godzilla.
that was a story. But no, I want to know what the most inappropriate time you have laughed in a movie theater has been.
Okay.
I have one. I want to know what yours is.
Well, I wouldn't call it inappropriate, but we definitely offended people
Oh, good.
when we did it. My wife and I, when we saw we were dating at the time, and we went to see the original Matrix. Now, Mike, just go in another room
Oh,
because I'm going to
Jesus.
talk about the Matrix for a second, and you need to not get your panties in
I
a
just
wad.
lose respect for you when you tell
You
me.
don't have
Matrix
any
is
respect for
great.
me already.
Yeah.
So
He
Libby and I
doesn't.
went.
He's
Libby and I
a
went to see.
weirdo.
I liked the first Matrix.
Okay, but you
We
laughed
went to
all the
see
way
the
through
original Matrix.
Yeah.
We were laughing our asses off whenever Keanu Reeves was like, whoa, woo, and trying to act all badass. Libby and I were rolling, dying laughing. They're like everyone else in the theaters on the edge of their seat watching, and Libby and I just slapping our knees laughing at Keanu Reeves trying to be a badass. And again, I like Keanu Reeves. I'd like to have him on the show.
Yeah.
I'd like to have him over for a cookout. I'd like to hang out with the guy. I think he's a great guy.
If you
I
invite
think
him
he
over, let me
is-
know. I'm coming over.
I think he
He's gonna
is
suddenly be there.
I think he's one of the worst actors, the worst highly paid successful actors there is, and I love the guy. I think he's a nice guy.
So-
I think he sucks as an actor.
So I laugh at tons of inappropriate points, but one that I can distinctly remember, and I'm convinced that they did this on purpose to be funny, but I've never seen anyone else laugh at it. The perfect storm. So this is way off.
I do.
With,
I remember.
You know what
that.
I'm talking about?
I have
George
seen
Clooney.
that movie.
Foghorn, the foghorn thing.
Uh-huh.
No one in the theater laughed, and me and Bess were cackling, and people were looking at us.
That was George Clooney, right?
Yes, that was George Clooney.
Okay, I don't remember the foghorn part.
Okay, there's a part where there's the weird looking guy, and he's saying goodbye to this girl that apparently he fell in love with over some reason. And as they're saying goodbye, in the background, and we lost it. We were cackling, and no one else in the theater was laughing. The most embarrassing moment, I have two, where I couldn't stop laughing, was I mentioned it in the last episode, was the SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
Right.
Where the dolphin
one?
goes to the bathroom.
Right, the last-
sponge out of water.
Oh,
Have you seen that one?
I haven't. I've seen the one with David Hasselhoff though, and it's still to this day one of my favorite movies of all
Okay,
time.
this is the one with Antonio Banderas. Okay,
Ooh.
so SpongeBob somehow ends up on a spacecraft with a dolphin
Sure.
looking at another planet,
tracks.
and the dolphin's in a robe, and it says it's in the middle of a speech, and it says, "Excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom," and it waddles off the screen, and when it comes back, it has toilet paper stuck to its flipper, and I could not. I was screaming, laughing, so I embarrassed Andrew to death. He couldn't. He was
Oh,
like
that's
hiding
good.
his face. And then what was it? Angry Birds? Was it Angry Birds 2 that we
Yeah,
went with
you about
guys?
lost your
Did
mind.
you
at
actually
Angry
see
Birds.
that movie? Because I honestly
That-
thought no one in this existence saw that movie.
That is the funniest. When they're trying
You
to
thought it was
pee,
way funnier than I.
Oh, I
than
forgot.
did,
Your
but-
dad's makes sense now.
Yeah. Yes.
I thought I was going to have a child
Uh huh.
through my urethra. I was laughing so hard.
We laughed our butts off at Storks. Did you see Storks?
No.
Okay.
That's
I
a
have more
movie?
class
It's a movie.
Yes, and oh my God, is it
Is that
hilarious?
an Adam Sandler one?
No.
Oh, I thought he
no.
voiced one of the
but-
things in it.
But no, Andy.
Andy Serkis?
No.
Sandberg?
Gollum?
I was gonna say, really?
Andy Samberg.
Oh.
Thank you, Margie. Andy Samberg does the voice of the main stork,
Interesting.
and it is very, very funny. Very
Okay.
funny. I can't recommend it strongly enough.
Okay.
And
So-
people without kids, I think, would enjoy it.
Okay.
So my most inappropriate movie theater like crack up was when we went on a double date with two friends of ours to see Les Mis, and it was just a little over the top in the movie. And at the very end, there's like a super dramatic close up of Jean Valjean like's face as he's like
Okay.
singing and everything, and everyone like you can hear sniffles in the
Right.
movie theater, and I just lean over to Zach and go, "Oh no!" Every time Wolverine hits a high note, his eyebrow raises, and it does every time, and we lost it. And
Yeah.
I can't watch that movie anymore.
Yeah, it is fun when you're the only people in the theater laughing.
Yeah.
I know. It's like I don't care, but pretty cool.
Hi, this is Dave Lay. Mike and Darin either forgot what they were talking about or rambled on about something unfunny or inappropriate, and they decided to delete a chunk of the podcast. So here I am to cover the edit and hold this gem of a podcast together. We now return you to your show already in progress.
Yeah.
I would like to just briefly give you guys a glimpse of some of the feedback that I got from our episode that you guys were on.
I would love. I was
Oh.
going to ask that. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
So the first thing someone ever sent to me was, oh God, I cannot for the life of me remember who it was, but someone just said, "Hey Rachel, I just want you to know that the two guys that you had on are just chaos in the best way."
That's the name of our book.
yeah.
Chaos in the best way.
Pure chaos. And then I also
Mike
had
and
someone
Darin
say it was
story.
like herding cats, and yeah,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
it was.
I love that.
It was beautiful. It was very good.
Yeah.
I
It
had
was a fun
someone,
time.
one of my friends was like, yeah, I love how they didn't understand what a Dorito shape was.
Doritos.
We
Dorito.
totally understood the Dorito. We just didn't understand why you were comparing a person to saying you were saying a person was Dorito
Yes.
shaped.
Haven't you ever
Yeah.
said
And I'm
someone
like,
was
is
a
the
snack?
pointy end at the bottom or the pointy end at the
You've
top?
never
Well,
said
that
that someone is
depends.
a snack, Darin? You've never said that Libby is a snack? You should see how that goes.
I've said she's a snack. I never said she was snack shaped. I'm not stupid, despite what everyone in this room and your rooms think of me. So
Can I ask a
Well, I've
stupid
got-
question? Oh, I'm sorry.
I've got,
This is your show.
Go
You
ahead.
do you.
Yeah. No. We lost control of this hours ago. Go ahead.
I have a stupid question that I like to do to several people in my life. What were you doing in 1993?
Graduating high school listening to Pearl Jam, trying to go see Zoo TV at the very end of its. I know 1993 like the back of my hand, and going to OU for the first time.
In 1993, that's when I started my career in television at WJHL in Johnson City, Tennessee.
Cool.
And it was a few weeks after, or it was a few weeks before Letterman had moved to CBS. So I had graduated college and started my first job in television, making $13,500 a year.
Woo!
Can I
Big
point
bucks,
something out?
the big bucks.
I know, and it's like I worked mornings, and they had me doing a split shift, so I worked from 6 to 10 in the morning, and then I came back from 2 to 7 in the evening.
Did you go in
And
Did you go into the coal mines after that?
God, I wish, but it's like it was. It's like whenever people ask me about what I do now, I earned it.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I really earned it.
Can I point something out?
Yeah.
We were asked about a year in our lives, and I had to tie it to you two.
Yeah.
And you had to tie yours to David Letterman.
Yeah.
It's like we keep coming back to the same, and you're wearing the hat.
Well, so the reason I ask and the reason that year's important to me is because that was the year I was born.
Okay.
So I just, every once in a while I like to call people out on that and be like, oh, what were you doing? Oh, I was born that year.
Yeah.
I find it funny.
Yeah, I was born in 1970.
So okay, so you were starting your
Did the
first job.
war
I was
end
starting
then,
college,
Darin?
and
Was
she
the
was
war
Which war?
over?
Yeah.
Yeah. The war's going on in this
The
room.
war?
Here, I'll tell you that. Yeah.
I do that. I've done that in I work all the freaking time with my bosses and stuff. Like, oh yeah, I remember we were working on this back in '93. I'm like, well.
Well, let me tie this into this. Rachel, you don't listen to the show, so
No.
you don't know, but almost every single week, Mike and I have something involved with the Kroger Corporation.
Oh.
The Kroger down the street, the craziest people shop at Kroger and the craziest people work at Kroger. And I went shopping, and anytime I go into Kroger, I'm like, oh God, I hope I get something for the podcast this week. And I'm shopping, and I'm almost through the entire store, and nothing's happened. I'm like, well, this has been just been a letdown, So I go through the register, and I'm putting my stuff on the conveyor belt, or the thing, as Mike calls it.
Yeah.
And the cashier looks at me and says, how are you doing today? And I said, I'm good. How are you? And he says, good. And funny thing is, I believe George Washington was the first Federalist who later on became a member of the Whig Party.
What?
He said that to you?
Yes.
All right.
And I said, okay.
Sure.
And then I'm thinking, I don't have George Washington on my T-shirt.
No.
It's not like I handed him a 1 and go, oh,
No.
Speaking of George Washington.
Was
right?
it the
And then
dude? Yeah.
Then he starts talking about Andrew Jackson and how Andrew Jackson did something with the French and Indian War, and then the Cherokee Indians. And
Did he break
He had to
into
have
the
done
Hamilton
something.
soundtrack after that?
no, but it wouldn't have made it any weirder. He could have. And but
Was it one of those 15 items or less jackasses? Okay.
No.
Those
And this
bastards.
is your cashier, right? This is your cashier?
We like you. We're gonna hire you, but you're a jackass, so we're putting you on the express lane.
You're a bastard. So sorry.
But yeah, I've seen this guy before, and one time I went through his line and I had my Star Wars shirt, and he was telling me how pissed he was at Darth Vader in The Empire Strikes Back, and he wanted to kill him himself. I'm like, okay, calm down, we're good.
Crazy.
But yeah, just out of nowhere, he's telling me about the Federalists and the Whigs and the French and Indian War.
At least you learned something.
And Davy Crockett was friends with the Cherokee Indians, and he actually helped it during the French and Indian War.
Okay.
And so when I'm leaving, he gives me my receipt, and he says, you saved $7 on gas for next time. And that was your history lesson. I hope you enjoyed it.
Did he genuinely say that? I want to shop at that Kroger. I want to experience that.
Yeah, I went home and I told Libby, she's like, that did not happen.
Yeah.
She's convinced that I'm making this stuff up.
Okay, so I have 2 Kroger stories.
Oh.
They're
Okay.
brief and they're stupid.
Okay.
One is it happened months ago, and I was going to talk about it on the podcast, but I kept forgetting, and you kept getting so far off topic, I never remembered it. There was an incident.
Shade.
I pulled up at the end of an incident. There was a car. Okay, so the spaces that are not handicapped, but are right up on the edge. Like you can get as close as you can, but
Right.
not be in a handicapped space. The golden spaces is what I call them.
Right.
The expecting
was a
mother
ca-
spaces.
Yeah. There was a car diagonally in that liney part.
I'm sorry, it was what?
Going diagonally in
Okay.
that liney part,
Okay.
and then another car going the other way, and they were both half in the space.
Uh-huh.
They were both laying on their horn, hanging with the flippy hands
They're
out,
giving
which
the
you've been
bird.
which you've been doing
These?
the entire
Yeah,
episode
yeah.
to me. Those things.
Oh, okay.
That
And
Got it.
yelling,
what is that?
and so I calmly get out of my car and come over, and there's like a little crowd of people, and the little awning part right in front of the Kroger, just watching it. And I come over, and there's a short, portly man standing there just laughing. So he seemed friendly enough, and I'm like, "What the hell's going on over there?" He said, he pointed out, he just started laughing. He said, "This has been going on for 15 minutes." He said, "That guy pulled in, and then that guy came in. They almost hit each other. They've been honking at each other for 15 minutes straight and screaming."
And that's it.
And then what happened? And that's
I went in and bought my
Full credits. This has been Irritable Dad Syndrome.
So this is and here's the other story. Here's the other story. This just happened. 2
Hey,
days
you know
ago.
what? At least
Yeah.
this story that I tried to read had an ending.
I have two after this
That's
if you're
actually
willing to
never-
do one.
I
debatable,
never
Darin.
have-
That was not an ending. That was just.
I never have ended.
Death.
You didn't get to hear it, Margie. You didn't
You
get to hear
told
it.
me the
Okay.
story, Darin.
So I was at the Kroger,
Mhm.
okay, and there was a guy standing out there, and he had an amplifier and like a fiddle thing
Right.
hooked up to the amplifier
Uh-huh.
with like a karaoke thing going. So he
Was
had
he playing
like
Cotton
disco
Eye Joe?
music going. He might have been.
He was in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I saw him the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. There was
Dude
disco.
standing out almost in the middle of the street
Yeah,
playing
and
the damn fiddle.
he's got a little sign that says "Lost my job, have two small kids,"
Uh-huh.
something. And then so I pull in, I see him, I buy my items,
Mhm.
and then one of which was a chicken. I made another chicken. I'm getting over that fear. And then I come out and I get in the
You have a
car.
fear of
And then-
chickens?
and then
Wait, we
Bess-
need to
Bess-
unpack that.
I
Just
call,
leave
I
it.
know we
Just
don't.
leave it.
I called
Walk
Bess.
away.
I called Bess to tell her,
And
I'm
don't bring
coming
up
home.
milk either.
And she says, "Is there a guy in the parking lot with a fiddle?"
Uh-huh.
And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Somebody on the Facebook group." We're on that, that Facebook, like the Westchester, like the
Right.
the
Reserve-
Liberty
yeah,
people
yeah, yeah.
gossip thing.
Yeah.
Somebody in that group was complaining. And they called the police on him.
Why would you call the police on a guy playing a violin?
That's what I said. So
Right.
I was like, "Well,
Or
I was going to
fiddle,
give it. I
whatever
was
the hell
about
you
to
call
give him some money."
Uh-huh.
So I pulled around to get, and now Bess is on the phone through the car, so he can hear her, she can hear him, and me, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I pull up, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I give him the money. He's like, "Oh, God bless you." I was like, "Dude, my wife is on a Facebook." Now his like face drops because he, I now looking back, I think he probably thought I was crazy and I was going to pull a
Can't
machete
imagine
out.
that.
Oh, no.
I was like, my wife is on a Facebook group. Somebody called the police on you, and he's like, "Oh no, yeah, they just came by. Everything's okay, everything's cool." I was like, "Well, okay,"
Okay.
and I went,
Yeah,
I went home. That's my story.
Very good stories. So my Kroger stories that I have, one of which is that my sister's Krogetto down in Nashville.
Your sister. I'm sorry. Your
She
sister's
has
what?
a
Krogetto.
palmetto.
The Krogetto.
Krogetto. Okay.
Yeah.
You guys have heard of Krogetto, right? Everybody has one.
Oh,
It's the
no.
ghetto Kroger. Krogetto.
No, we have the Breaking Bad Walmart.
Right.
Oh,
Krogetto.
that's
Well,
a pretty good one too.
I was about to say, I used to have Krogetto, but I took some penicillin and cleaned right up.
Wow, that's amazing. The
Side
penicillin's
effects
still
may
effective on
include
that.
howling at the moon.
Exactly.
No, so my sister lives down in Nashville, and the Krogetto not near her is actually called the Murder Kroger, and it is the
Uh-huh.
Kroger that has the highest murder rate in the United States, and it has a plaque, and it's awesome.
It does not have a plaque.
It does. I've seen it
Wait, the highest murder rate amongst Krogers.
amongst Krogers.
So they're keeping track of
Yeah,
that.
they
That-
are.
that-
How many are there,
Now, is that-
Rachel? How many were there?
Is that
Don't
people
know a number
killed on the?
now.
That's people killed on the Kroger property.
Property. Yeah, I have
If
to
you
assume
get-
mostly in the parking lot, but
If you get wounded and then bleed out later at a Taco Bell,
Clean
it
up
doesn't
in
count,
aisle
right?
count.
3.
Okay.
Clean up in aisle 3. Get the bleach.
Wait. Okay, so which one's the one on the bottom, Rachel?
yes.
Margie.
Margie.
Hi.
Rachel
Maybe.
Margie's on
That's
the
me.
bottom.
I don't know.
Margie.
So she kept saying that and we know you're single because you clean up cat poop at a moment's notice, right?
Yep, yeah.
So at some point, are you planning on getting married?
I'm hoping to get
We need to
married,
set-
yeah.
Okay, so when you do, we need to have that at the Kroger here in Liberty. Let's go ahead and set it
You
up.
want me to get married at the Kroger?
Yeah, there's a bar. There's a bar right there.
Oh,
You
it's
can
one of
pick
the
which
fancy
aisle you want to walk
Krogers.
down. Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's got a bar
With
which
box-
Margie walked down the
wine.
wine aisle.
that's now called the Crow Bar.
the Crow Bar.
Crow
The
Bar.
Crowbar.
They
Okay.
yeah, and they
And
have
Margie,
a really
I'll
good,
give you away.
Aw.
They have a really good cake
You know,
section.
not my
so we
dad,
could just
not my actual father.
yeah,
Nah.
we can walk over and get a cake.
I'm sure he'll be fine. Has he offered yet?
You're the one that wants
No.
to get married in a Kroger for God's
No, he
sake.
hasn't.
Yeah,
I'm the
Margie,
first
get
one
your
offered.
together.
I got dibs.
They
I
have-
called shotgun.
They have a gift section. People, if they show up without a gift, they could just go over
Do
and
I
get
have
one.
to
They
wear
can
like
get
the
cards.
Kroger? Do I have to like come up with a dress from the Kroger?
No, Margie, it's your wedding. You'd wear a dress.
Oh, no, that would be cool if she got a
Out of
dress.
the
Sell
bags?
dresses in Kroger.
No,
Mike.
you take
Yeah,
the
they
plastic
do.
bags.
Yeah, they do.
There's a clothing section.
Yeah,
There's Carhartts. That's the same thing
Yeah.
as a dress. That's like a dude's dress.
Carhartt.
Yeah.
We can make modifications. That's
Carhartt
fine.
in the Kroger. We're talking in the Kroger.
I'm sure there's
Yeah.
a tailor
you can
somewhere.
buy shorts.
There's
I
a
think you-
pharmacy there. People
Yeah.
can check their blood pressure before
Yeah.
they get out and dance.
Yeah, go get a tetanus shot.
Wait,
Yeah.
where are they going to dance? Where are we going to clear the produce section?
At the Crow Bar. No, at the Crow Bar, which is right next to the produce section.
Yeah.
It's in between the cheese and the cake section.
And
Yeah.
there's
And
already
there's
rice
fish
there
over
to,
there.
to throw.
There is rice.
Already
too.
rice.
There's already
we can
rice.
also
Exactly.
serve
Okay.
the fried chicken, the Kroger fried chicken.
Yes.
Exactly.
But Margie, we can't eat
But no,
that.
Margie, the joke I said a few episodes ago was I will walk you down the aisle.
Yeah.
Aisle 4.
Yeah. I'll officiate.
Yeah.
We just gotta find a spouse for you, which we could probably find that at Kroger too.
I mean, I
So
haven't
what-
been
you-
kidnapped
you pick
yet.
a date.
We're still looking for someone to
Right.
kidnap me. That's
I'm
the
sure there's
recipe of
somebody at Kroger.
for romance.
All right.
Yeah, so Margie, send us your type and we'll find you somebody.
Yeah.
There's a very
Probably at the
limited
Breaking
selection
Bad
at
Walmart.
Kroger, though, so I hope Kroger brand is okay.
I don't know. Everybody eats food. Everybody
I only like
eats
simple
food.
truth,
Yeah.
guys.
Uh-huh.
Prearranged.
That's why you don't have a man yet, or woman.
Simple truth.
It's out of our
Nice.
budget, Margie.
Oh, God.
I'm not taking that private selection brand. I don't want any of that.
No. No.
God, you're so
no, don't
picky.
Don't give me none of that. Yeah. Well, listen, Margie, Rachel, thank you so much. Before we cut out of here, throw out a shout out for your podcast. Let people know where they can find
Hell
you.
yeah. We are Textual Tension Pod across all of the Twitstagrams. Because I don't...
And the Fache books.
Sure, Margie
Yeah.
does the social media. So
Yeah.
if you find us on Textual Tension Pod, you can find us pretty much everywhere. We also have textualtensionpod@gmail.com is our
Yes.
email address.
Yes.
And textualtensionpod.com.
I love how you always question that just a little bit. Like
I
you're
do.
always unsure.
And
But
I'm
you
the one that
jumped
has
right
said it for
into it.
almost 69 episodes. So,
Heyo.
hey-oh, nice.
Nice.
Well, what I liked about that, Mike, is like that was 20 seconds. It takes us like 14 minutes.
Do you want me
You've
to go
been
to
listening.
tell
longer?
people.
Hold on.
I can go longer.
Here we go.
That's what she said.
Hey.
Yeah.
You've been listening to Irritable Dad Syndrome. Follow us at Dad Irritable on Twitter, Irritable Dad Syndrome on Instagram, and Irritable Dad Syndrome on Facebook. Also, check out our website, irritabledadsyndrome.com, for pictures of
Yes. Bam.
bam.
You sound like the
Very
guy on
professional.
like a very like, and this is gonna sound mean, like low grade furniture store commercial.
I thought you were going to say like some sort of like, I was going to make a mean joke and I'm not going
I
to.
just
but
made a mean joke, so go ahead.
I was going to say you sound like someone reading the disclaimer at the end of like a Cialis commercial
Yeah,
or something
that's
like
what I
that.
thought too.
Void were prohibited by law. Tags, title not included.
Do not listen to while driving.
Exactly.
Well, it helps that
Snacking.
we got the same Textual Tension Pod across everything. That makes it
Yeah.
a lot more streamlined.
We couldn't get Irritable Dad Syndrome on the Twitter. We had to go with Dad Irritable.
Some
Yeah.
How dare?
Yeah.
How
I
dare?
hope he gets more.
Well,
Hope he gets more tweets than we do.
He probably does.
big thing for us, pluggable wise, is that our 69th Nice episode is coming out
Nice.
pretty soon. I don't know if it'll be out already by the time this comes out, but it's 2 Tuesdays from now, so maybe. And it's a big one for us. It is big and terrible, and I hated it.
Okay.
We're
It's a good time.
Darin's vibrator just went
Yeah.
off.
Aw.
I hate that, and I wasn't sitting on it.
Aw,
my
God,
Lord.
you got to prepare better.
I know. So, well, anyway, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Thank you for having us on your show.
Thanks for having us.
Hopefully, we'll
Roz.
do this again. Yeah, hopefully we'll do this again if we haven't. I don't even know if Mike and I are having a podcast.
We
next
don't.
week.
We don't know very
we may
many
be
people.
done.
Yeah.
I am hoping that we were able to, like, rebuild some of the bridges that obviously, we burned down previously. We've
Oh,
maybe.
you didn't burn down anything.
I just feel like there's some.
Wow,
I feel
we're
like
moving.
I can feel the
There's us on
tension
TV.
in the room. I can feel like I think
Mm-hmm.
you guys need like to clear your chakras, or
Couples
with some
counseling.
crystals, or maybe some Horcruxes. Like,
So what?
Oh,
Can I get that at the Home Depot?
Lowe's.
it's next to the gazebo.
Despot.
It's next to the gazebos.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but they're a pretty penny. But like you guys, you make $12, so maybe you can afford it.
It's a
Exactly.
good thing I don't get motion sick, huh? Camera flying around.
That was very
Well,
fun.
listen. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Yeah.
And to all our fans, thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. We want you to check out our website, irritabledadsyndrome.com.
Do it.
And you can go back up there and you can listen to all our previous episodes. You can become a patron if you'd like. That would be great because we could keep this thing going. And again, we just thank you so much for listening, and we hope to see you next time.
I'm glad you called it Patron instead of Patreon.
Yeah.
They can be a patron. It is Patreon.
Yeah.
That was an ending.
This wraps up another stellar episode. If you disagree with anything Mike or Darin have said, send your complaint to Irritable Dad Syndrome, P.O. Box 1472, Westchester, Ohio 45071.
Okay.
Cool. Margie, do you want to introduce us or do me too?
Well, I'll introduce you.
Oh,
This
yeah,
is
perfect, cool.
our podcast.
Just shut the up until we tell you to talk.
You know what? Fucking fair. All right. Game on, motherfucker.
I'll tell you when to talk, and I'll tell you when not to talk.
Yeah.
You're on
Yeah,
Irritable
say
Dad
that again. I
Syndrome.
like it.
Oh, no.
Worldwide Pants.